Hello everybody, my name is Zeke. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about some of the books that I want to read in the rest of the winter. These are not really planned out that much. They're more things that I know. I really base this list on things that I know I can get from the library pretty quickly and I can get digitally from the library pretty easily. I think having this list will make it very easy for me to just pick up books when I kind of go through everything I have on my shelves, which is quite often because I don't usually keep a lot of physical books with me that I haven't read. I can just have this list with me, and whenever I want to pick up a book, I can just look at the list, see what I kind of want to read, and then go to the digital library apps that I use and hope that they are still available as they were when I checked to make this list in the first place. But another thing about this list is that I don't know a lot about a lot of the books on it. I'm going to be referencing some descriptions and I don't want to know too much about a lot of them. Also, a lot of them have been kind of on my radar for a while, so I may have known more about them when I first put them there, but I may not remember as much now, and that's okay. And I'm just going to go through the books that I'm excited to probably pick up at some point within the next few weeks, next few months. First one I have is actually a short story collection called Terminal Boredom by Izumi Suzuki, and I know that this is a short story collection. I think it's translated from Japanese and it deals with some darker and maybe supernatural stories, which I'm really excited for because I have really been enjoying reading some more short story collections, especially last year. I read Otessa Moshfegh's short story collection, Homesick for Another World, really enjoyed that. I read another short story collection called Cursed Bunny, that was good. And I've just enjoyed a bunch of short stories recently and I want to experience that more. So there will be a few other short story collections on this list, but that one just seemed interesting because I think it has that darker twist, which is something I find I like in short stories. Next, I have a kind of sci-fi book, Remnant Population by Elizabeth Moon. My understanding is that this is a book about a woman who has lived on this planet in this community for her whole life, and then suddenly they're told that they have to evacuate and go away, and she decides to stay behind and she has to live with that decision, live in this world that's been abandoned and kind of figure out what's going on, I would assume, and see why this is all happening, why they're being forced to leave, and I'm sure plenty gets expanded on from there. I've heard not a lot about this. I do think it just sounds like a very interesting premise, and I'm trying to read more sci-fi this year, so this seemed like a good option for that goal too. Next, I have another short story collection I didn't even know existed, but I'm very excited about now that I have kind of put it on this list, and that's 19 Claws and a Blackbird by Agustina Basterica. Definitely butchered that name, but this is the author of Tender is the Flesh, which is a book I read I think a few years ago at this point. That's kind of this literary horror with some very, very, very dark themes and dark undertones that I thought was very, very good. And so I didn't know she had other books, other short stories out there, and so I'm very excited to read this. Hope it will be just as dark, just as weird as that original book that I read from her, and I'm very excited to get to it at some point. Next, I have Mona by Pola Alexarak. That's definitely another name I butchered. Really bad with authors' names, but this is a book that I really don't know anything about other than I think it's really a character study of this woman who is a writer who feels kind of out of place in this writing world at like university and just across the board everywhere she goes. And I'm really hoping that it'll be funny, but it'll have kind of a more introspective topic that it covers and more to say about this character and about her life and about society. So that's my expectation, that's what I hope. But other than that, I really don't know a lot about what this book is actually about and like what the actual plot is. So it could really go either way, but I'm excited to pick that up when I get the chance. Next, I have a memoir. I really don't read a lot of memoirs other than Joan Didion, but the memoir is The Argonauts by Maggie Nelson. And I'm picking this up or put this on this list because I know that it's kind of known for being a genre-bending memoir. And this past year I read In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado, which was also very much a memoir that went beyond the bounds of like the traditional memoir, and I really, really, really enjoyed that. And I would like to experience something like that again. Not saying this is going to be the same. I don't even know anything about this woman's life, about what she's going to be talking about, and all I know is that this is very highly praised and that a lot of people love it very much, and with that extra context of it being kind of outside of the bounds of like the traditional memoir, that was exciting to me. So I expect to pick this up at some point and probably enjoy it. Okay, this next one is something I know a little more about and that I'm very, very excited for. This is Assassins of Reality by Marina and Sergio Diachenko. And this is the second book in a series that has been translated and is being translated like currently. So it's not all out yet in English. And I read the first book, I think 2 years ago at this point. Really enjoyed it. It's kind of dark academia-ish, but it's very speculative. There's a lot of weird stuff that happens. It has a lot of dark twists, and it's a very strange book. There's lots of strange people, strange events that happen, kind of weird mystical things that are pretty dark that I just really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the atmosphere. I really enjoyed the plot and kind of learning more about what was going on. And for whatever reason, this came out, I think, pretty early last year. I just never got around to picking it up. And I'm very excited to see how the story continues because I feel like there's a lot to discover, a lot to talk about, especially after the last book, and I would really like to see where it goes. And I really just think I've never really read something as weird and as weird in this specific way as the first book, Vita Nostra, was. So I'm just very excited to have that experience again and kind of continue with this story that I did enjoy so much and found so unique and different from everything else I was reading at the time. Next, I have another short story collection. This one I'm a little scared for, and that's Bliss Montage by Ling Ma. And I am excited for this because I read Severance by Ling Ma, which is, I think, her debut novel, and I really, really loved it. That's like kind of like a plague pandemic type story, but it's not really focused on that. It's more focused, it's more introspective. It's not really about the actual world event that's going on as much as it is about following these characters' lives while everything kind of breaks down around them. And I really, really enjoyed it. That was another book I knew like nothing about going in and was completely blown away and absolutely loved it. But I've heard very mixed things about this short story collection, and that makes me hesitant because I really did love her book so much. So I hope that I will love these stories, or at least some of these stories, as much as I love that book. And if I end up not, I will just patiently await her next book and hope it will follow the trend of what I actually liked, and we'll see how it goes from there. But I'm skeptical, but this has been on my list for a while. And I think what is funny about this is I really wanted to read it when it first came out, but it was hardcover and it was like really expensive. And I can't justify buying like a short story collection in hardcover, especially because I think it's pretty short. And so I'm very disappointed that it's taking me so long to get to it, but it's now finally kind of more readily available. I can get it digitally for free. And so that is a really appealing option for me, and I will be doing that. This is something I definitely want to prioritize at some point because it has been so long since I've wanted to read it. Okay, next I have another one that I'm very excited for, but also a little skeptical, and that's Pines by Blake Crouch. I've read some of Blake Crouch's newer stuff. I really enjoy Dark Matter, Recursion. Those are, I think, his two best books. I also read his newest book, Upgrade. Didn't really love it, but it was okay. And these are kind of sci-fi thrillers, and I just think that the two that I really enjoyed were incredible. They're just really fast-paced, but also they have like these complexities with the science fiction that they're talking about that I think are really interesting, and they explore really interesting ideas in a way that's still digestible for the reader, which I think is something that's very hard to do. And I also think he's not like the best like character writer, but he does make you feel for the situations that he places these characters in. And so I am a little skeptical of this because I've heard that a lot of his older books are not so good, and I think this may be the exception. This is a trilogy that he wrote called the Wayward Pines trilogy. There's a TV show about it too, and I think it's up there with like his more popular stuff, but I don't know if it will live up to Dark Matter and Recursion. I expect it won't, but hopefully I will still have a good time with the books, and there'll be like nice breathers I can take maybe between more dense things that I'm reading, and I'm excited for that aspect of it. Especially, this is another thing I wanted to read for a long time, and for whatever reason I never like find it in bookstores, and it's never available online. So I'm just excited to finally get to this as well. This is kind of cheating, but I'm gonna include another book, and that's a book I've actually already started reading, but I just started reading it, so I'm still gonna count it. It's The Three Body Problem by Si-Jin Liu, and this is a sci-fi book that I've heard a lot about. Once again, don't know a lot about it, still don't know a lot about it 50 pages in, but I've just heard that it gets really complex, and it's really just incredible, very grand scope, and a lot of people say they've never read anything like it before. So that's very high expectations, and I hope that they will be met. So far, I don't have a lot of thoughts. It's pretty early on. Not a lot has happened, but it's getting more interesting now, and I have a good feeling. So hopefully this and all of the other books on this list will go well. That's gonna do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you want. Let me know what books that you are excited to read in the near future or in the far future, and I will see you in the next one.